G'day and welcome to Reality Check. Before we start this week's show, here's a little bit about our sponsor for this week. Dr. Stephen Gundry has this concept called caloric bypass. He says the key to losing weight and keeping it off is not in carbs or fat or even in probiotic-rich foods. Instead, it comes down to a specific switch you can flip in your body to flush out unnecessary calories. And by activating this specific process in our body, he says he's seen thousands of people dramatically improve their health, even at age 50 and beyond. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research, and he's kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video's been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/Ross. That's thehealthyfat.com/Rost. It's linked at the bottom of this video, and just click thehealthyfat.com/Ross. Now, let's get on with the show. G'day and welcome to Reality Check. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart, and today we're going deep underwater to a mystery beneath. In 2011, Swedish underwater explorers were scanning the Baltic Sea, searching for shipwrecks. The Baltic Sea is an arm of the Atlantic Ocean, enclosed by Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Russia, and Sweden. In June that year, 14 years ago, they came across a very strange and unexplainable object. Their scanners picked up a large circular structure that looked as if it was constructed, designed, shaped, and it had odd markings. It's 60 metres in diameter, 90 metres deep, with a long drag mark following it, etched into the ocean floor. It's been dubbed the Baltic Sea anomaly. And while the explorers have actually been very, very careful not to say exactly what they think it is, a lot of folk have started calling it the Baltic Sea UFO because it bears an uncanny resemblance to Han Solo's Millennium Falcon from the blockbuster movie Star Wars. For a while, the world media went nuts and the anomaly story was all over the news. The easiest explanation, and this is the one that I suspect many of you might be thinking, is that the object was just an unusually shaped lump of rock, maybe hard basalt, that happened to look like something deliberately shaped and constructed. But 14 years on from that discovery, for the team that discovered the anomalous object, Ocean X, a company led by Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Asberg, what sits 90 metres underwater in the middle of the Baltic Sea is still a mystery. Dennis Asberg still feels strongly that he and his team have not been able to do all the research work, including crucial core samples, to resolve the mystery of just what this object is. For over a decade, he's been struggling to get the sponsorship to resolve that question, trying to raise money. And for his noble efforts, he's been slurred as a scammer and a con man for trying to raise money to fund the expedition. Well, now he's looking more optimistic that he may finally get those funds together and finally get that expedition to be able to resolve this mystery once and for all. So today, I introduce Dennis Asberg, one of the original discoverers of this mysterious object lying at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. Dennis, welcome to Reality Check. Can I ask you, sir, do you think that this object is a Karelian T-1300 light freighter built around 60 BBY, most famously used by the smuggler Han Solo and Chewbacca before, during and after the Galactic Civil War?
You never know. No, I don't know, really. It's a long story. Of course, lots of people think that. Lots of people have mailed me or sent messages to me that this is Millennium Falcon you have found, and yeah, it's not. It's not, but it is something for sure. That's why I'm struggling with it.
Tell me the story of how you discovered this object.
Yeah, we are an explorer company, treasure hunters, you can say also. Diving with salvage shipwrecks around the world and cargo from shipwrecks. And we have put our time to wrecks with champagne and cognac and wine, exclusive wine, to salvage that and sell it on the market, Christie's and so on. And our mission 2011 was to go out and find a special wreck with cognac and Benedictine, another type of booze. Um, and I think we have been out for 1.5 weeks. We were quite tired at that time, and we almost sunk with the ship. And it was a fishing ship we rented because, yeah, that's what we had at that time. Uh, and we managed to come to Finland and come up to a harbor and fix the boat. And then we decided to go out again and search in a new area for this special shipwreck that we searched for. Uh, but we searched in a new area uh, and have been out one day, and then in the night time, and late in the evening, we have a new area to search for this wreck that we have never been before, really. And we were quite tired at that time and frustrated also because, we have put in lots of time and money in this project, and we have not found any sign of this wreck, special wreck then. And the value, it's millions. That's what we search for. And this thing is popping up, this odd thing on the monitor.
So what were you using? How did you detect it? Was it some sort of scanner?
Side scan sonar we use, so that we can see a 2D image of the bottom. We see like 300 meters from in diameter of the bottom. So we have scanned for like 2.5 hours, and then this thing popping up on the monitor. And I remember we were quite surprised. And Peter, my colleague, is looking at me and say, "Dennis, here it's a UFO." And I just, what? It's a round thing we have found there, and we began to measure it and see how the size of it, and it's 60 meters. And for me and Peter and all the other crew members, we have never ever seen anything big like that.
No.
Big things and odd things you can see, but not as big as this one.
So you have the original scan, but
Yeah.
what really caught my attention was at the end of the documentary, The Mystery Beneath, there's a much more high resolution scan that you were able to repair from corrupted computer files of another scan that was done.
Yep.
Describe to me what you see on that scan, and I'm talking about the track of the object.
Yeah, what you mean is the multi-beam image we have. Uh, it is it is a round object, 60 meters, and then you have, as you said yourself, 1,500 meters of a track on the bottom. And before that, you have like a mountain with a canyon in it. It looks like, if you play with your mind, it looks like something have crashed into the mountain and then slide on the bottom.
Now, I think we'll insert that multi-beam scan image in here because it is quite dramatic, and it's the moment where I sat up and thought, "Wow, this really does look like." And forgive me for saying this, but it does look like a crashed spaceship because you've got what looks like a gouge through that mountain. Then you've got an obvious track going across the sea floor for 1.5 kilometers. And then you've got the object itself sitting on a mound of silt. It looks like an underwater crash.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's what we all thought when we saw the pictures. We laugh at it, and but at the same time, I take it serious. I think we have found something very, very interesting, and we must be very careful to talk about people with about this when we're coming home to the harbor again. And I was very sure. That's why I've never give up. I have been working with this for 10 years, and I have tried my best to get the attention from people, that people are going to listen to this and really take it serious.
So let me be the dogged skeptic for a moment, Dennis. I mean,
Yep.
obviously, I'll put to you. I have to admit, when I first saw this story, my thought was this must just be a lump of basalt rock. You know, it must be a very hard bit of rock that's somehow been exposed, and it's sitting on the surface, and it looks anomalous. It looks strange, but as you sometimes see in the ocean, there are objects that look as if
Yeah.
they're constructed, look as if they're human made, but it turns out they're not. Just to devil's advocate, why couldn't it be just a big lump of rock?
That's a very interesting rock then. Nothing I have seen before. Not my colleagues around the world that are explorers as me. I put lots of time to see if I can get any answer from people that work with the same thing as I do, and nobody have really come up with a good answer. It's not the
Okay, take
submarine base or something like that, or
take me through what is it about that object that you believe suggests that it's a constructed object, a designed object.
it's lots of things. It's not only the odd things and the structure of it. It's other things also. But in the beginning was the structure, and it's the 90 degrees angles. You have like corridors in it. You have holes in it also with frames around it.
Okay, so let's talk about the hole with the frame. Talk me through the specifics of that image, and we'll put that image in here.
Yeah. We use the ROV, the robot, and we have the multi-beam or sonar on the ROV. It's a blue view sonar. Uh, you have a 2D image of the object you see in front of you, and when we look down at the object, because with the usual camera, the visibility is almost zero. And sometimes you can 30 centimeters or 1 meter or something. But in this case, we use the sonar, and when we look down at the object, we see all the corridors, the angles, but we also see this hole 2 meters in diameter with a frame. And we were very surprised about that, of course.
So, is it exact right angles? Have you been able to measure the accuracy of those angles? I mean, could it be just a natural rock formation that's shaped like a right angle?
When I have talked to people, scientists about that, and they have seen the pictures and all the data, they say, this is very interesting. I have never seen anything like that before. So it's only on that spot also. It's not, we have nothing else there. It's this thing. And then when you look at this round thing, you have all these corners and holes and frames and so on. And it's 90 degrees angles, yeah.
There is another feature that really intrigued me, and it looks like a triangle with some kind of hole in the middle of it. Can you talk me through that?
Yeah, it was not so long ago I found that. I have so much data and films and from the expeditions we have there out there. We have been there a couple of times. The last time we were there was 2019, and I remember so well that time because we had a salvage job together with colleagues from Finland, and they were quite funny about this with the object in the Baltic Sea. And they said to me, Dennis, it's a rock. It's a rock. Yeah, perhaps it is, but a very interesting rock. Have you seen anything? No, but it's a rock. Okay, but next time we're going to go out on the Baltic Sea, you come with us with your own equipment and look at yourself. Look at this thing yourself. And they did. They did. They follow us on the ship. They used their own equipment, and even he, the person that have laughed at me, say, Dennis, this is man-made. This is constructed for sure. So,
Okay, so let's talk to the triangle. How did you obtain the image of the triangle?
wow, yeah. I because a situation we had in Sweden here with a submarine that we not have the chance to salvage. I have lots of time over, so I begin to go deeper into the pictures and analyze all the data I had, and then I found this odd thing, this sign, or as you said, the triangle with a hole in it, and I was quite surprised because I have seen it, not seen the triangle, but I have seen the pictures, but I have never really get deep into the pictures. And I did, and I saw it.
So, just to devil's advocate, Dennis, there's a phenomenon in UAP research called pareidolia, where we see things as humans and we put patterns to them. Our brains automatically look for patterns. Could it be that what we're doing is our brains are seeing patterns where essentially it's a natural formation?
Yeah, of course can it be like that, but in this case it's not one thing, it's not two things, it's lots of things only on this structure. So when you find something that sticks out, you want to search for more things that is odd and strange on this object. And I have done it, and I've seen so many strange things. Not only this triangle and this frame, or it's lots of things that they are
Okay,
not.
so I want that detail. Let's make your case. What are the strange things? What are the things that have convinced you that this object is constructed, that it's some form of artificial construction? It's not just a lump of rock sitting at the bottom of the Baltic Sea.
It's a number of things. I cannot say one thing. It's the triangle with a hole in it. That's one thing. It's it's a 60-meter diameter round thing that looks like it's separated from the bottom. You have this track on the bottom also, like 1500 meters. You have these angles, you have these holes, we have also been with the ROV under it in the front of it, if you can call it that, and see lots of strange things. It's like burn material, like something have burned on it. It have been upheated. That we have seen, and that's what we have experienced when we have been down there.
So you say that when you looked underneath the object, it showed some kind of burn, some kind of material that had oxidized somehow and blackened.
Yeah, when we have been
have
under
you been
it.
able to get a sample of that material? Have you been able to test that material?
No, we have not. We have not. That was very interesting because one of our divers in the team, Stefan Hågeborn, he was the task was to take a sample from the object. He did not manage to do that. It was too hard. And I remember when he coming up for the first time after he had been down there, he said, when I'm brushing off the sediment, it was black. And then I tried to take a sample. It was too difficult, Dennis, to take a sample.
Did he think it was rock? Was it consistent with being rock? I mean, could his chisel... I could see in the film he was using a hammer and chisel. I would have thought if it was basalt or some kind of hard rock, he would at least have been able to get a chip off it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was not down there. The only thing he mentioned for me was that it was something hard. I did not manage to take any samples from the object.
Right. So, I mean, obviously the burning is a mystery because that area of the Baltic Sea, there's no history of volcanic activity or magma
Exactly.
or anything.
No, it should not be. We should not be any signs of it. I have been on the Stockholm University and talked about that, and they like, whoa, that cannot be from there. It must be from the Atlantic on the melting period. It's coming there,
So
and
I just want to get my brain around the implications of this, because you've got an object sitting 90 meters under the Baltic Sea, slap bang in the middle of the Baltic Sea. I know you keep the location secret, but the history of the Baltic Sea, as I understand it, is that it was created around about 14,000 to 12,000 years ago. But before that, it was basically a big lump of ice. And the implications of what you're saying are that that object, if it was there before that time, if it is a constructed object, it implies that it's some civilization before, say, 18,000 years ago when the Ice Age hit. True?
yeah, yeah, perhaps
So the
that's my
implication
thought.
is, so it's either a prior human civilization or non-human civilization that's constructed that object and it's sitting there, and maybe it's a relic of some past civilization, or it's an object that's fallen from the sky, perhaps through re-entry, and landed on the ocean bed.
Yeah, I believe me, I have thought about that 10 years now, more than that. What can it be really? It can be something that is constructed on the spot for sure before the
Right.
Ice Age.
But if it was constructed on the spot before the Ice Age, how old would it have to be from your knowledge of what the ice flows were doing in that megalithic period?
Wow, good question. I mean, more than 15,000 years, something like
Wow.
that.
Now, known human civilization, and we're pretty good at this on Reality Check, known human civilization didn't really start until, let's say, 5, 6, 7,000 years ago. Something that's 15,000 plus years out is far earlier than any known human civilization, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And also having the capacity to shape rock. You need metal tools, you need specific devices that allow you to cut particularly hard rock, if indeed it is rock.
Yeah, yeah,
So, one of the other things I wanted to explore with you, Dennis, is you noticed other anomalies when you were on site. You had all sorts of weird things happening over the object. Can you talk me through what happened?
yeah. Lots of things have happened out there. The first time we were out there, we noticed that we have problems with our equipment. The ROV did not work properly, and I remember when Stefan was coming up and explained for me about taking samples. But he said also, Dennis, it's something strange because usually we have 4 to 5 Celsius plus there down there, but now Dennis was 0. I have never experienced that before. So he was, uh, very confused about the situation he had down there, and he explained for me. And that's not the only thing. Even his camera stopped working, the light stopped working, and when we talked about that, I said, "Okay, we have the same problem with the ROV, with the robot. The compass not working properly, and it feels like this thing or whatever it is don't want us to come near it. That's why we did not. It was very difficult to find the spot again with the ROV.
So you were getting some kind of what, electromagnetic interference with your technology.
Yeah,
Tell me about the radar. You were getting ghost images on the radar as well, weren't you?
yeah. Well, we had almost every time, but this time it was so clear. We have anchor over the object. We start preparing for the dive, and was blue sky. The sun was shining. No ship near us. We were totally alone that time. Um, And then we look at the radar, and it's popping up like dots on the screen, like something is out there. And I remember Peter and I look at each other and say, "Okay, what is that?" And it should not be anything out here. So I take the we go out and look, and we did not see anything. But still, it's popping up everywhere around us. And I'm talking about the area of 150, 200 meters from the ship, and we have no ship there. So, yeah,
The other thing I was fascinated by is you became aware, didn't you, that there were other potential foreign navies in the area
yeah,
watching, perhaps taking an interest in what you were doing. Tell me what
yeah.
you saw.
Wow, that was a little scary, I must say, because we have anchor. That's another time we have anchored and begin to prepare for the dive and using the ROV at that time, and then it's popping up lots of ship, and that was ship. It was no ghosts. That was the navy. It was the NATO. Even the Swedish navy with the coast corvette was down very close to us. Also, remember this is on Finnish economic zone. This is not the Swedish water, and even the Swedes were there with the ships. But every must be 10, 15 ships around us, laying there, lurking around.
So, from which countries?
It was NATO. It was British. It was American. It was German ships. It was French ships. Yeah, lots of
So,
ships. It was.
so there were 10 to 15 ships
Yeah,
close to where you were operating.
exactly. And we
Was
have
there any
filmed it also.
was there any plausible explanation for why they were there so close to you?
Not really. I have no clue. It was nothing about the NATO. Should have no exercise. Nothing about that.
And did you ask them? Did you hail them on the radio and ask them why they were taking such a close interest?
Yes, I did. I called them on the radio and asked them why they are so close to us because we have divers in the water. And they, yeah, they were friendly, so they move away, uh, perhaps a
What did
couple of
they say?
100 meters.
What did they say? What was their explanation for why they were taking such a close interest?
They did not give me an explanation at all, not at all. But
I
later,
understand later, sorry.
later, that was interesting because I had a meeting in the headquarters in the Swedish Navy about this later, and I asked one of the officers down there, uh, "You have a ship down there very close to us. Do you know about that? And why did you do that?" And so on. And he just looked at me. No, no, no. I have no information about that. So that was quite interesting. Of course, they
There
know.
was also that the Russians took an interest in you. Apparently, there was a submarine emitting
Yeah,
some signal that you were able to detect.
because of lots of things have happened out there. I begin to miss. Something is going on out here. It's not only we are in could be interesting in this. Must be others also. So I remember when I was home, I asked a company to borrow equipment to analyze data signals, and I borrow this thing, and I have the dummy there that tells me turn off every equipment you have on the boat, telephones, satellite telephones, and radar, and we did it. We turn off everything, blackout totally on the boat. Um, and then I just push on enter, and I did the scanning of the signals. And when we were ready with that, I when we come back to to Stockholm, I leave the information to this company, and they did the analyze of it, and I get the answer that we have a the machine have noticed a signal that is dedicated to the Russian Navy. So
Wow. So
So
you
I
think it
did
was
not
a
see any
submarine?
submarines. I did not see any submarines, and I did not see any Russian ships but the signal was there.
This is getting more and more intriguing. One thing I wanted to ask you about, I asked you about the material on the bottom of the object, and I think you mentioned that you hadn't had it tested, but I did see an interview where you mentioned that you'd sent a sample off to, was it Israel, for testing?
Israeli. Yeah.
What did you send off for testing, and what results did you get?
No, we managed to take loose stones from the object laying on the object because we did not manage to take any samples directly from the object, and that's why we something must take up from that. So when I saw these stones, it was like a burned thing on it, so it was quite interesting to see it. And then I decided to uh, send it down to Israel because they have contacted me and they were very curious about that and they want to do analyze on it. And okay, why not? I sent it down there, and yes, I got the answer from them, and it was I did get two answers from them. One on paper and one not really on paper. But the first I got, what have you found? How you find some high-tech submarine? And I was, what? What do you mean by they mean by that? And then after that, I got a more accurate data on it, or I don't know. But they find biologic bone material on it.
Burned
And
material. Sorry, is that burned material?
yeah, burn material on it.
Right. So where on earth would burning come from 90 meters underwater in the Baltic Sea?
That's the good question. I have no clue. Uh,
I mean, I guess there's a mystery there, isn't there? And just
yeah.
so I'm clear and just so our audience understand, when you scan all around that area in the Baltic Sea, are there any other kinds of rock outcrops that might remotely resemble the object that you've detected?
No, no, no. I mean, round things you can have from old mines that have exploded, but then we're talking about 5 to 10 meters in diameter. That you can find, of course. But
Right.
now we're talking about 60 meters, and it's not like it's not like like a crater either. It's something that's sticking up.
And it's not something that's fallen off a boat. It's not an old boat, or it's not an old, I mean, one of the explanations I saw was that it might be a reel from a cable company laying cables, but then it was pointed out that even the largest cable reel is only a fraction of the size of this object. Is there any kind of prosaic explanation that you can think of that might plausibly explain that object, if it is, as you believe it is, a constructed object?
No, no, I don't know. I cannot be something from the ship that have fallen off. It's too big. Um,
So,
no,
what are you doing now? I mean, obviously, you've done two visits to the site. Uh, are you going to go back and do more study?
that's my goal, Ross. That's my goal. I have been since I found it. It's have not been easy, I must say.
You've copped a lot of attacks, haven't you? In fact, I think there was a Fox News article that outright accused you of being a scammer, that essentially the whole thing was just a rock. Had Fox News done any research before they made that claim?
No, they did not. And I was so angry and frustrated because at that time I did my best to convince scientists, people with the knowledge to help me understand what I have in front. We have there out there, and Fox News going out with the news that this is a rock, without talking to me, without knowing where the spot is, the position, nothing. And I was so surprised. I sent them a mail. Also, I didn't, of course, not get the answer and ask them why are you going out with this information? You have not spoken to me. You have not been on the spot. You don't even know where it is. And
Did they say where they got that information from?
no, they did not answer me. So
It I guess what I find fascinating, Dennis, is there are parallels with the UAP subject here because there are a lot of people who become armchair experts when anybody suggests that there's anomalous explanations for UAPs. And all you're arguing for, you're not saying, are you, that this is a flying saucer or indeed necessarily that it's a constructed object.
Yeah,
What you're saying is that the evidence suggests that it is a constructed object and that you would like to do further investigation. Is that a fair comment?
yeah, that's how it have been from the beginning. It
And
is
so,
something in my mind. It's for me. It have been since day one something that is so odd and must be constructed. And is if it is a something is constructed on the spot, I don't know. And if it's falling down from the sky, I don't know. But I
but
want to
if it
find
was,
out.
I mean, the exciting thing is, if it was constructed on the spot, it must be somewhere between 15 to maybe 20,000 years old,
Yeah,
because that's the last time that area of land underwater was open air land.
yeah,
If it was an object that fell from the sky, then we need to explain why there are these strange right angles on the object, corridors, apparent constructed shaped framings of holes in the object, including a triangle and a square.
yeah,
That is suggestive of construction, ultimately, isn't it?
yeah. It is for me. For what I have seen, it's something, of course, that is constructed. And
So,
yeah,
where do you think the whispering campaign came from that you were scammers? Do you think this was just trolls, or do you think this was more organised?
I think it was organized. I mean, I we know that the Navy have been out there lurking around every time we are out there, almost every time. So they
So,
know the spot. They have, of course, been there.
so
And
you strongly suspect that the authorities don't want you to find out what this object is.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Well, that just gets my hackles up, Dennis. I'm sorry. I just need to know more. So, what's the likelihood that you'll be doing an expedition anytime soon?
Wow, that's a good question. I hopefully this year, this summer, we can do an expedition again. That's what I hope for. Nothing is ready yet, but that's my goal.
Now, Dennis, I couldn't let you go without finally asking you one question. You have seen an anomalous object for sure, haven't you, in your life? There's a great story you tell of what happened at your home near a military base in Sweden. Do you want to tell me that story?
Wow, yeah. Yeah, that changed my life totally. I was an entrepreneur, I'm still are, but at that time I was young. I'm a family father living outside of Stockholm, not so far from a military installation. Um, in an apartment. Now I'm living out in the archipelago. But at that time I'm living in an apartment. I have the window, uh, so I can see the military field and the construction out there. Um, one early morning, usually I sleep long time at that time because I'm working a lot. But this time I'm working. I wake up very very early, like 3:30, 4 o'clock. The sun was on its way up, and I was just laying there and I'm wondering, okay, why I'm waking up, and okay, I'm feeling fresh and nice, and my wife is sleeping still, and then after 10 minutes, I decide to go up to the kitchen and drink water. And when I'm sitting in front of the sitting in the bed, I have this big window in front of me, and I have this view of the military installation, and I see something that should not be there, and it's take me perhaps 2-3 seconds to understand that it's something odd over this area, and I begin to build up a frustration, a angriness in me. So I begin to use F words and to get my wife's attention behind me. And And I look at this thing. It looks like at that time like a cigar in front of me, and was big. It was not like something on the window or a balloon. It was a big thing. No lights, nothing, and not the surface of was rough. Also, it was brown, and it's also reflecting the lights from the sun. So it was orange, brown, yellow. Um,
Just to explain for our viewers who don't know
yeah.
what happens in Sweden in summer at 3:30 in the morning, why was there sun at that time of the morning?
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Sweden. In the winter times, it's dark almost all the time here. That's the sad thing. The summer times here in Sweden, we have, it's light almost the whole night. But this was summer. It was early. The sun was on its way up.
So you were seeing a reflection of the early sun on the shine of this object.
Exactly,
How
exactly.
big was the object?
Wow. That was something I spent the day after, or the same day after I have talked to my kids about it. We going to the spot and try to figure out how big it was. It can be 600, 700 meters in diameter. It was not a small
Wow.
little thing.
And was there any kind of glow, any kind of light coming from the object?
No, nothing, nothing.
Any
No
noise?
lights, nothing.
Did you
And
see it move, or did it just
yeah,
hover over space?
yeah, that's the when my hair is standing up, because I was so surprised about it. I was sitting there in front of the window and look at it, and I turn around to see if I get my wife's attention, and she looked at me with big eyes, and she was scared. It's not Dennis. So, and then I turn back my head and look out at the window. It's still there. It's still there. And I hope then that my wife is going to come up and see it herself, but she did not. And I standing there and or sitting there, and then the thing happened. Then you see it like this, and then it's turning up like this.
So
And
it
when
went
that
from it
happened,
went. So it was originally looking like a cigar shape, which is
yeah,
essentially a disc looking from the side.
exactly.
But as it turned, you became aware of its particular shape. What
Yes,
shape did you see as it turned?
round. It's a round object, and
And
it was
then what
yeah.
happened?
And then I saw it just for perhaps 3-4 seconds, and then it was like somebody is throwing a frisbee at you. It's flying away over my house,
Was it
and I
fast
was so
movement?
surprised and angry at the same time, because I did not really understand what I'm seeing. So I run over the bed over my wife. She was already scared, and now I'm running over her to the other side of the house. And I'm standing there on the balcony and look, where is it? And where is it? I was so frustrated and angry. And then after a minute, she's coming. And then the kids also. Daddy, Daddy, what's wrong?
And when it moved, how fast did it move?
I mean, nothing I have seen before.
So faster than any known
Yeah,
terrestrial
I have
craft.
never ever seen anything move like that.
And do you think it was moving intelligently? Could it have been a balloon or some
No,
kind
no, no,
of
no, no.
natural object, maybe a swarm of birds?
100%, 100%. It was something should not be there. Something have, yeah,
So
not a natural thing.
I guess the point of all of this, Dennis, is that what that event did was twig you to the fact that there are phenomena which cannot be explained.
Yeah, you know, before that, I did not think about UFOs or something like that. I look at Star Wars as many other people have done, and I was busy with my business and my success with that. And then that happened. It is like I'm burn marked with it. I cannot let it go. I think about it every day since that day.
It fascinates me, a lot of people who've had even one or two UAP encounters, it's like it seeds them with the need to know more.
Yeah,
It twigs their curiosity. Is that what's happened to you?
yeah, of course. I'm an explorer also, And then when I found this in the 2011, I get what the heck is going on? And I was so surprised. No, I'm burn marked with it. I cannot leave that, and I'm so what can I say? I'm convinced already that we are not alone. Where they are, where they're coming from, I don't know.
So, Dennis, I can't let you go without asking you, not scientifically, but intuitively, in your gut, what does your intuition tell you that that object, the Baltic anomaly, is 90 meters underwater in the Baltic Sea?
I want to be down earth. I try to be, but at the same time, I'm swishing away sometimes. But I think it is something constructed, and I think it is something that is probably constructed on the spot.
Which
Then I'm down to earth, and then I can, as I said, go away a little. After my experience, I had 2009, no, I mean 1996. I'm not surprised if we have found a crashed UFO in the Baltic Sea.
you think that it's entirely possible it could be something non-human, or it's entirely possible it could be something that was constructed before known human civilization. Either of those alternatives is mind-blowing.
Yeah, you're right. Something is.
Dennis, it's a pleasure to speak with you, and I think I speak for most of us here. All you're trying to do is solve a mystery. And that's what we love here on Reality Check. We love investigating mysteries and trying to get to the bottom of them. So I wish you the very best for your endeavours, and maybe one day we could join you on one of your future expeditions. It'd be great to see what's down in that mystery beneath. Thank you so much for joining Reality Check.
Thank you, Ross. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And please don't forget to click that red subscribe button to ensure you get more of NewsNation's unbiased and fact-driven news coverage.